Hello everyone, welcome to another build video, but this time we're gonna go over AoE, and as usual, as I discover things, I may make updates to later improve the builds, but at this point I'm trying to do what I think can be done at the moment, and then come up with improvements later. And with this build, luckily I did manage to keep in the damage companions, which has inspired me to try and attempt that with the ST build, because I do have an ST video for mod 30, which doesn't have any damage companions, but AoE has inspired me to try and fit those in with some of the stuff that I found. So that will be getting an update. Lots of different updates, lots of playing arounds, but hey, at least that's like a lot of options for people to see. Anyway, let's get started with the Arbiter AoE build. So, quite a lot of changes from my mod 29 AoE build, and that's because, haha, stats. So, firstly, this helmet is one that you can get from like two Underdark campaigns. You get one as legendary, and then you upgrade it in another campaign to mythic. So it gives you more accuracy. And in AoE, I know that sometimes you want to dash ahead, so you'll lose some stamina by dashing ahead. But if you do have your full stamina and you don't dash ahead too much, at least you'll get some accuracy. It was hard finding a good helmet for here because a lot of the really good ones are timer ones. But when you're in AoE, you don't want to wait 5 seconds to get a stack because you're not gonna get it in time. AoE is fast. You gotta have everything pretty quickly. So I thought this was one of the better helmets to put on. There is, if you need crit strike, there is a different helmet that also will straight away just give you something, which is this crit strike one. This chest piece is from Master Layer of the Mad Dragon, and it gives you stacks of crit strike and crit save. These arms are from the new dungeon. Because I haven't done the new dungeon on live, I'm not sure where they drop from, but I'm sure it drops from one of the bosses. And if you don't have these arms, there's so many alternatives. Like there's this one, and there's this one. Like lots of arms with alternatives if you don't have that one. Now, the main hand and icon was quite interesting because I forgot these existed. Because I need like lots more stats. What I actually ended up doing is looking at what are the weapon options, because previously what I was using is Solarium Scepter, which does a decent amount of damage in AoE. But of course, I need stats. So what I ended up using is the Scepter, and this is actually quite nice because you gain power while at full health, and if you're dodging red and you're let me rephrase that. If you're not just chilling in red, and your tank is doing their job by grabbing aggro of the mobs, and you're not running ahead, hitting them first and dying. So, assuming normal playstyle, you should be chilling at full health, so you'll get power. And then you'll also get a constant 2.5% combat advantage. And then the fire theme map is not really necessary because this isn't a fire theme specific one. So this is just for extra stats because the other like really good weapon for stats is perfect weapons, but those stack with time, and you don't want timed gear in AoE because again, groups die fast, and by the time you get all those stacks, the group's gonna be dead, and you're gonna move on to the next one. So I thought this was an interesting find. This is from the Volcano Fire Thing campaign, and you just grind out, like, do quests, do the giants, and then you get these. So, well, I think they're commanders, not giants, but you get what I mean. Then for the feat, this is from Master Dealing Weapons, I believe second boss, and yeah, it gives you combat advantage for every enemy you're engaged with, max of 10, so up to 20%. But I have built this build with extra combat advantage so that you don't rely on 10 targets. Because sometimes, well, I mean, as the group dies, that will reduce the amount of stacks and that will reduce your combat advantage. So it's just nice to be a little bit over just in case. Or maybe you're just fighting a smaller group and you just won't get as much combat advantage. Now for the neck waist again, I can no longer afford putting damage stuff in neck waist, so I put this one in accuracy. It stacks 3 times to give you a maximum of 7.5% accuracy. This is a ring from MTOS, and it gives you combat advantage, but you can also get some power from when you're fighting 2 or more enemies. Luckily, this is AoE. What are the odds you're gonna find 2 or more enemies? Very, very likely. So this is a good one. Then for the other ring, it's crit strike, and the same kind of thing. Fighting 2 or more enemies, you get more crit sev, which is also very likely. I can't even think of any time where you're fighting only one. Maybe a mini boss, but sometimes mini boss, spawn the little mobs around it as well. So very likely that you get these stacks, and so likely that I've just added them into the calculation because you're an AoE. It's gonna happen nearly every single time. And this ring is from Wild Space. I want to say you get it from Moondancer / you can buy it out as well. I don't have this ring on live. I have Obligation, which is an alternative. It's just slightly different stats, so I wanted to go with the one that gives combat advantage of stats. But you could also go with the old one, which gives you critical severity. So you can see why I didn't go for the critical severity. My rating's already capped, but that's a good option. Sure, as usual, I like rocking this 5% common advantage shirt from Dragonbone Veil, but you can also buy this on the auction house if it's still being sold. These trousers are from Wild Space as well. I don't remember where they drop, I just know that they're from Wild Space, and they give you a lot of common advantage rating. In terms of enhancements, these are all just on whatever stats I need, and then whatever is left over on defense. Of course, Devil's Position for stats, Rage of Flame / any other Slayer, depending on the content you're doing, Lightning Flash for stats. In terms of artifacts, this is my 1800 arty that you get from one of the previous battle pass that gives you like a choice, and I chose the music box because hey, Arbiter. And then I am gonna be using the new pistol because it gives good stats and it's high item level, so it's a good replacement. And then for now, because of the stats, I put Merilith Mask, and this one's always variable, so I don't really count this one. In terms of boons, kind of just the usual offensive stuff, and then put into movement, put into some of the damage stuff, and I guess if you have even extra boons, you can also start putting it into some of these ones in case you encounter cultists and dinosaurs in AoE. But if I get 5 more boons, cultist is definitely the next one I'm gonna put into. But yeah, the main thing that I did is just kind of put into a lot of these master boons that can proc in AoE for extra damage, extra stats and whatnot, but I never count the stats as happening because these can be quite variable. So these are just like extra helpers. Then over here, I just switched my accuracy to crit strike because I needed more crit strike. Now for companions, I have the volcano equipment for item level. I have Minsk on because he gives 2% combat advantage to the team, and he's also decent in AoE, but by all means put whatever else you want. I have purple to give me more power because I don't have a lot of power as much. And then I have my 2 damage companions, which is the same as what I've been running for a while. Then here I have Vortex, which I like using for AoE because it groups all of the enemies up nicely for everyone. And then Armor Breaker for some stats. And then in the stable, I have a few of the 4 insignia increased offense rating stuff. I have increased damage to my companion, and I have Gladiator's Guile. And Gladiator's Guile is important for me because I want to move fast in AoE. In terms of buffs, I use the perfect spider totem. Owlbear, I mean, technically there's a better equip than Owlbear for AoE. I don't really use Owlbear in AoE. Then we have Flask of Potency, Squash Soup, Ratatouille, and Sunlord's Gift Elixir. And that's it. That should get your stats up pretty nicely. Try to get it as high as possible while not taking out the damage companions. It was very hard. If you have any other ideas for even further improving this build, by all means, do let me know. But other than that, hope you enjoyed this video. If you have, please leave a like. I also been posting a few Arbiter things, Neverwinter things, and D&D or whatnot. So if any of those interest you, feel free to subscribe for more. And then finally, I also stream Neverwinter on Twitch in the weekends. So feel free to catch me on Twitch. It's Azarren. And watch the chaos or whatnot. Thanks for watching. See you guys later.